Now, most humans in the morning when they wake up, they brush their teeth, make their bed, and eat a nutritional breakfast. After this, it's time to get dressed up and ready for the day. But the age old question suddenly comes up: what should I wear? Through this thought process, most humans either be unique and choose whatever outfit they desire, but a percentage of people will choose their outfit based on fashion trends or what everyone else seems to be wearing. For example, in a high school, a demographic poll was done by the national clothing industry that showed 93.4% of high school boys wear Vans apparel, whether it be shoes or clothes. What this can be seen as is what we call fashion conformity. Fashion conformity is where people choose the type of clothes they wear based on what society seems fitting. When looking at the larger context of this issue, we can see that fashion conformity has some kind of effect that alters the environment and society around us. However, this can be seen mostly in Gen Z and can definitely have many impacts on many things, but especially on the fashion industry. Good afternoon, my name is Sebastian Delgado. This brings us to our research question. To what extent does conformity in Gen Z in the United States impacted the fashion industry over the past 25 years? Now, when thinking about the fashion industry, I've broken it down into manufacturers, retailers, and consumers. This is why, according to my research, it can be seen that conformity has negatively impacted the fashion industry because it has put pressure on manufacturers, forced retailers to go into fast fashion, and caused mental health issues in consumers. However, to first understand how conformity affects or impacts anything at all, one must understand what conformity does, which is that it can change an individual's behavior. The passage The Cultural Evolutionary Trade-off of Ritualistic Synchrony by Michelle J. Gelfand, who works in the Department of Psychology at the University of Maryland, depicts a graph that shows the liabilities with requests to aggress. Now, even though this talks about obedience and compliance, these concepts are the same as conformity. Therefore, this shows how conformity can affect things negatively and further foreshadows how conformity can affect objects even as big as the fashion industry. Now that the concept of conformity is understood, the first negative effect conformity, specifically in Gen Z, has had on the fashion industry is that it puts pressure on the manufacturers. The article Survey Consumers Want Sustainable Clothing, Need More Info, made by Genematica, a chemical manufacturing company, reveals that a new survey of 2,000 teenagers in the US from clean manufacturing leader Genematica set out to understand consumers' awareness, perspectives, and behaviors and around sustainability in fashion, finding that 86% of consumers believe sustainability is a good goal, yet nearly half don't know or where to find clothes, and 42% are confused about what makes clothing sustainable. This piece of evidence proves that a survey of teenagers, which is a part of Gen Z, shows that there is conformity within thinking that pro-environment products are the way to go. From a manufacturer's point of view, when most of the market wants pro-environment products, it puts pressures on these manufacturers to provide these products. In addition, the passage The State Fashion of 2020 presents a graph. Now, if you look at the graph, it depicts how the highest percent of people who stated they would pay more for products that have the least negative impact on the environment was Gen Z. This goes to show how conformity within a generation could put pressure on a manufacturer to create more sustainable and eco-friendly products. Furthermore, this shows that the larger context of conformity in the fashion industry, because not only does it affect the manufacturers with the pressure they receive, but also affects the environment, this time in a good way. Similarly, another way that fashion conformity in Gen Z has affected the fashion industry is that it has forced retailers to go into fast fashion. In the passage, Ultra Fast Fashion is Eating the World by Rachel Monroe, a contributing writer at The Atlantic, claims that Boohoo's clothes may not feature prominently in Vogue photo shoots and may for now appeal to consumers who are mostly under the age of 30. But the risk of ultra fast fashion marks a major shift in the retail world. This evidence goes to show that there is a relationship between the rise of ultra fast fashion in retailers and customers under the age of 30. As you can see, it talks about consumers under the age of 30, and the age limit for Gen Z is from 10 years old to 25 years old. The reason why there is this rise of ultra fast fashion in the retail world is because the appeal of these consumers, who are mainly Gen Z. This fashion conformity in the consumers gives that negative effect that forces retailers to go into this fast fashion. This affects the fashion industry and retailers, but also negatively affects the society and the environment in a larger context. Furthermore, the article Conform Just Enough Reflections on Fast Fashion by author and writer Solene Wolf discloses how stores like Shein price at unbelievably lows because they can, with the cost of labor subsidized by sweatshops. This evidence explains how fashion conformity makes retailers like Shein go into fast fashion, but also hurts the society around us, as demonstrated in the evidence of how there is hardworking environments and conditions due to the use of sweatshops. In addition to the passage Fast Fashion, Its Detrimental Effects on the Environment by Rashmilia Maddy, author and writer for Earth.org, points out that fashion products comprise 10% of total carbon emissions, as much as the European Union. It dries up water sources and pollutes rivers and streams, while 85% of textiles go to dump each year. Even washing clothes release 500,000 tons of microfibers into the ocean each year, equivalent to 50 billion plastic water bottles. In other words, fast fashion contaminates the air that we breathe, pollutes the water around us, and wastes valuable material. This force of fashion conformity in retailers to go into fast fashion, and as a result hurts our society and environment. The next and final way Gen Z and fashion conformity have affected the fashion industry is causing mental health issues in consumers. Furthermore, the article Is It Time for Death of Fashion Trends by Elena Mancini explains how while fashion trends are nothing new today, there is extra pressure on Gen Z to wear certain items stemming from what they observe on social media. And it's having a negative effect not only on promoting fashion conformity, but it's also impacting their mental. In other words, Gen Z feels the pressure of conformity when it comes to fashion wearing, what they observe on social media, and what other people wear. This leads to, as the evidence said, a negative impact on their mental health. Overall, pressure in manufacturers, fast fashion, and retailers, mental concerns, consumers, are all the ways how conformity in Gen Z has negatively impacted the fashion industry over the 25 years. Thank you. What questions do you have?
All right, 2 questions for you. First up, how valid and reliable were the sources that you use, and then how do you know?
I feel like my resources were reliable because based on the authors, they had good credibility. Like one of them was from the Atlantic, writer of the Atlantic, which is, I'd say, a 3 on the scale that we learned. And then one of them, 2 of them actually were from the stimulus that College Board gave us, which are both, one of them's a journal, academic journal, and then the other one was a newspaper article.
Okay. And if you had more time, what additional research would you conduct on this issue?
If I had additional time, I'd probably research a counterclaim to this, my topic, to further enhance and strengthen my argument.